Yo, what is going on? So, I am really excited to talk about this. Um, this is a brew that I've been working on for cEDH for the Superior Spider-Man. Thankfully, Superior Spider-Man is actually good. I was waiting for him to get spoiled for a long time. When I saw the symbiote Spider-Man, I was like, oh, that's rough, but at least we're in good colors, so we can play good stuff. But with Superior Spider-Man, we can actually play Reanimator. So what I wanted to do today is just goldfish a couple hands with you guys and show you what I think is possibly an up and coming star in the meta. So we have some interesting things here. If you can see, I'm actually on intuition. So for a turn one keep, this is not great, but potentially we can do some things like turn one Praetor's Grass somebody. That sounds pretty good to me. Um, I would probably not keep this hand. I've found in testing I really like to have two lands in an opening hand. Um, just for like certain things. This Mox Opal's kind of killer for this hand. It's kind of bad, but we'll keep this one just to see. And of course, Gemstones on top, so we do get a second land. Not a particularly great one at this point, but we'll crack the fetch here, going down to 39. It is important in this deck to keep track of your life total. It will come up. I do have one card in here that is a token because I don't have the actual card yet. That is Shallow Grave. Shallow Grave can turn this into a turn 2 kill deck, or a turn 2 win, I mean, not kill. Because we're not just killing one person, we'd be killing the whole table. Um, that said, though, obviously we're going to probably fetch for our Underground Sea first. There we go. And we'll cast that Dark Ritual and potentially the Praetor's Grasp here. I may be thinking that's probably not great. What could you possibly get? But we do have the Historical in our hand. So personally, if it was me, I am considering just casting Dark Ritual for the Praetor's Grasp, steal a Consultation, and passing turn. I did not hit my land drop, unfortunately. We got a Aetherflux Reservoir. We are on a Citadel top combo. That's how our turn two kind of works. Um, at this point, I could do nothing. I can't do anything with this. But I do have Snapcaster if we do hit our third land drop here, and we do not. So, not a great keep. Like I said, do not keep one land hands. They're just not very good in this deck. There are some decks that can pull off a one land hand, but I think, as most people know, greedy keep. Greedy keep. Wasn't a particularly good keep either. So what we want in this deck is to see like a turn 2 through 4 win. There is even some turn 5 wins, but that's usually I'm assuming I lost at that point. But yeah, there are some definite hard to interact with early game wins with this deck. Okay, this is definitely a mulligan. I do like having the heuristic study, but with no way to get it out turn two or even turn one. I'm not really in love with that. Windfall would be alright. If I could get it out on turn one, I would definitely keep this, but because I don't see a way to keep, I'm going to mulligan. So I'll have the deck list in the description. If anybody wants to check it out, give me some feedback on what you think. I'm considering things like Razaketh and Jingataxius, so let me know if you see the list. If you're like, I think I could make this a little better, do tell. All right. Now, like I said, do not keep one land hands. This one is very tempting, though. This is the shallow grave I was talking about. I don't have the card, so I'm using a token as a proxy for right now. I know what it is. I'm not going to play this deck yet, so I'm not too worried about it. I will keep this, and I do hit my second land drop. I believe I'll play the Urza Saga, and then I will play the Soul Ring, and I will tap the Soul Ring to play a Divine Top and look at the top three with the floating mana. Alright, this is what I looked at the top three. This is kind of hard because I do have intuition, and I think I am going to intuition next turn. So what I think I'm going to do... Oh, intuition is kind of like a buried alive, but worse in this deck, so just keep that in mind. Um, I don't really want any of these cards in my hand except for maybe the Necropotence, so that'll go on top, and the other two will stay. And we'll go to our turn 2. So turn 2, we'll draw the Necropotence. We will play a Misty. We will crack it, and obviously get our Underground Sea. I was in a tournament, and a guy was playing Blue Farm, and I was also on Blue Farm. And he used his intuition during his main phase to get 3 lands: City of Brass, or City of Traders, Ancient Tomb, and Command Tower. And I was like, wow, he just must have the game right now. Like, why would he like main phase sorcery speed intuition if he didn't have it? He did not have it. I don't know if he miscounted his mana. I don't know if he assumed that we would give him the command tower. But yeah, he got the City of Traders and lost us the game. Loki he did lose us the game. So that's my fetch. I get the Underground Sea. Then I will intuition, and we're gonna make them a very losing pile. Don't do this on your main phase, by the way. I'm just literally saying don't do this on your main phase because we might need to use our Into the Flood Maw, or we may need to use our intuition to search for like counter magic and target an opponent that will actually give us the right spells. So we'll intuition, and if we can intuition in a positive way, like we don't have to get interaction, we can put. So it is a little difficult to pick your piles for intuition because depending on what goes in your hand, like we definitely want Gwenum either in the graveyard or in our hands, or Hoarding Broodlord. Depending on what our opponent thinks is gonna happen, will influence like the board state. I'm kind of flustering over my words here, but what I'm trying to say is if our opponent thinks we have a way from our hand to cast the spell, they probably will put it in the graveyard. And if our opponent thinks that we have a way to get it out of the graveyard, they'll probably put it into our hand. Sorry, I'm flustering because I was trying to think of what to get. It's usually Consecrated Sphinx. I will say a turn 1 commander and a Consecrated Sphinx is a very good way to win this with this deck, because what you want to do is you want to have a land that taps for a color, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Consecrated Sphinx in your hand, and you can exile, using your commander, cast it, exile it as a copy of Consecrated Sphinx, 4/4 Spider Human Hero Sphinx, and it's flying, and you draw 2 cards each time your opponents draw a card. So that's pretty good in cEDH. The only problem is if it gets removed. The other target could be Valgaboth here, but I don't think it is. Let's just say this is kind of a lose-lose situation, right? Because they have to choose between Gwenum going into the graveyard or my hand, Hoarding Broodlord going to the graveyard in my hand, and Consecrated Sphinx going to my hand. So if they give me Consecrated Sphinx, that's actually the best option for us. They're not going to do that. They're definitely going to put that in the graveyard. Let's just say they put Broodlord in the graveyard. That's a little annoying, but that's probably the right choice, is to put Broodlord in the graveyard. And assume that I'm not going to like make my land drop or something. But yeah, it doesn't really matter because we're going to Urza Saga trigger on our turn because it's our turn 1 land. So we'll untap. But obviously, as you know, if so, I will show the actual card. This is the card I'm using in place of it. This is Shallow Grave. It is 1 and a black, and it reanimates a creature card from your graveyard and gives it haste until the end of the turn, meaning that we can immediately attack with Gwenum if Gwenum goes to the graveyard. So Gwenum is not the right target to put in the graveyard with this deck. If you intuition and your opponent puts Gwenum in your graveyard, they have just cost everyone the game. But with that out of the way, let's untap, upkeep, draw. Urza Saga will trigger. We will find a 0 or 1 drop. By the way, we float the colorless mana, so we're floating a colorless right now. And we will find a land, or not a land, we will find a 0 or 1 drop. And we already have Soul Ring. I believe we're going to get Mox Opal because we have the 3 artifacts. And I believe we should also probably immediately use the Mox Opal for a black. Actually, we will use our Underground Sea for the black because Mox Opal. This is so niche, but Mox Opal can make any color, not just colors in your identity, and Underground Sea can only make black and blue. So it's like if for some reason I needed to like make a red or something, I wouldn't be able to with Underground Sea. This is like a really niche interaction. But anyways, we get the Hoarding Broodlord. It has haste, which means we can attack with it. This is up to you, personal preference. Do you want to attack with it and risk it for the biscuit, or not? I'm going to. I guess you can because the card that obviously we're going to get is Saw in half, and you can use it at instant speed, so it doesn't matter. So we could. Well, actually, it does matter. So we're not gonna swing in because we want to convoke with the Broodlord for black and keep the Mox Opal up, I guess, because I do have some interaction into the Flood Maw. But what we're gonna do here, this is turn 3. So this is still definitely interactable with Shallow Graves, and I believe an instant. So you can still get countered here. Saw in half, obviously an instant. Convoke with the Broodlord. Saw in half, paying the 2 from the Soul Ring. We'll make 2 copies of it. But mind you, it isn't now in the graveyard and does not get exiled because the Shallow Grave is at the end of turn, it gets exiled. So we have 1 in the graveyard, but we don't really need it, I believe, at this point for the combo because what we can do is we get Sacrifice with 1 of them and Bullis' Citadel with the other one because we do have top. Now, there's an argument you could get Pier, but a lot of people are off Pier, and I only have Pier and the Abyss in here because I am missing a few cards off of the list that I actually want to run. But I am running Pier into the Abyss right now, so I could Pier, but because I already have top. Honestly, I would rather get Citadel anyways, if I'm being completely honest. I'll convoke one of the tokens, sacrificing it, and getting 8 black, then casting from exile the Bolus' Citadel. That's a land. I didn't hit my land drop today, I haven't hit my land drop this turn, so play that. Oh, look, another land. Well, we will tap the top to draw that card, put the top on top, pay 1 life, and this is important where it was important to have kept track of our life. We cracked a Misty, so we should be at 39. Yeah, we should be at 39. That would take us down to 38. Ironically, I can now play this Mox Diamond to discard this Otawara. I don't know if I would, actually. I think I'm going to wait. So, we'll look at the top card. It's a Dark Ritual. We'll play it for 1. We might as well. So, we have 3 black floating. Play a Fellwar Stone for 2. We just want extra mana. So, we went from 38 to 37 to now 35. Leyland of Anticipation, we're going to draw that. So we'll go down to 34. Oh, Demonic Tutor, we definitely want that. Demonic Tutor takes us down to 32. And at this point, we pretty much have the game because we are going to get an Imperial Seal or a Vampiric Tutor. It doesn't really matter which one. Personally, I would use your Imperial Seal before you use your Vampiric Tutor. That's just because this is sorcery, and if we end up hitting Vampiric Tutor, we can respond with it, not the other way around. Weird stuff, but things to consider. This will go into my hand, but because I have all that black floating from casting the Dark Ritual, we will not pay anything. Mind you, keep in mind what the storm count was. So we cast Shallow Grave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll leave the storm count as 8. And I'm not sure if this makes it 9. I don't really care. But we lose 2 more life. I believe we are down to 28 or something now. This is why it's important to keep track of your life, because now I don't remember what I was at. But it does not particularly matter. Oh, this is the bottom of my library. We're gonna put this on top of our library. As long as we not at 4 life somehow, uh, we're gonna play the Aetherflux off the top of our library through Citadel, and this will keep track of all the spells we've cast this turn. We cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. So we'll tap this. If the storm count is, I believe, at 9, well, let's look first at what else we got on top. Citrus Supplier, we'll just play that. Yeah, we'll play that to mill 3. Kind of bad that Thas is one in the graveyard, but we can play it with our commander. And I do have enough mana, I believe, to use the Tainted Pact that's in my hand, but we can just keep going with top still. So we would pay 1 life, gain 9 life, going up to what I believe is 37. Get probe. Ooh, that's a good thing we drew that card. We will lose 1 life, gain 10 life, going up to 48. And as you can see, we just continue that loop and win the game from there. But yep, that is pretty much what the deck wants to do. We are kind of on a turbo Citadel list. We are not really trying to win with pretty much anything else. We do have Praetor's Grasp in there to potentially. We are running Brain Freeze because milling ourselves is good in this deck, and we are on LED already because the commander getting it out on turn 1 into a Consecrated Sphinx is kind of brutal, or even just a Valgavoth, the 9-mana Valgavoth. That is what the Peer in the Abyss is going to get replaced with. The mono black Valgavoth is crazy hard to get around. It's kind of like a mix of Citadel and Dothi Voidwalker. If you could use Dothi Voidwalker constantly and you didn't have to sacrifice it, it didn't have to tap, and instead of paying the mana, you just paid life. It's such a weird card, and it has Ward. The best part about it really is the Ward low key, because Ward sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. Removal is already hard to find in this format. Not a lot of people are running enough creature interaction, and the people that are running creature interaction are probably not running edicts, so we're not getting innocent blood or edict effects. So I mean, they likely have to target our commander, and we'll have to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. That's kind of hard to have in cEDH. That will pretty much board wipe a lot of people by the time you want to actually cast that. So, alrighty, that is going to do it for this video. Let me know if you like that. If you want to see some more test hands, if you want to see me drink a Corona Summer Brew on camera, let me know what you think. Check out the deck list in the description.